Let's go.
Oh, okay. Have you ever heard anything about Obama saying if, like, Bernie Sanders looks like he's going to win the nomination or win the presidency?
Yeah, I just saw that today.
What is that about?
He's an actual, like, he's a money guy.
And so what does he mean by he'd speak up and say something to stop him?
He still has very high approval ratings
Do you
amongst
think
Democrats.
Like, he would say like that he's
already doing it?
Is he part of the pedophile ring? Is he going to be
he would go that far?
He'd be
no.
like, hey, he was friends with Epstein.
They all, I don't know. There's not a whole lot on, like, Bernie already ran once. And all the shit got out about, you know, like, I feel like a lot of the op-ed research is out there on Bernie, and it's, I mean, he's got a 40-year political career, and he spent time in Soviet Russia, he spent time in Nicaragua, he spent time, like, all over the world as a mayor, and that's the big one, but it's mostly, like, Red Scare, McCarthyism shit, you know, especially now that McCarthyism is back, even though we learned in history class that hating on Russians just because they're Russians is bad and xenophobic, but I feel like, you know, these past 3 years have a lot of, you know, Democratic Party folk deep into the Russia-Trump conspiracy world because it's being parroted on cable news, you know. But yeah, no, they don't like him. He's already doing it. He's out there who's saying that, like, oh, you know, folks, I don't think people want to tear down the system or, you know, whatever. I don't think really people want to do that. But that's just not the case, you know. Most people feel like we're getting fucked up, you know, by our bosses or our landlords or the people who hold our debts, you know. Everybody kind of knows, I feel like. You know, everybody has a different idea or doesn't really care, and they just go with what the reason is, but I feel like everybody generally gets the idea that we're getting screwed over. And maybe Bernie actually poses a real threat, you know. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah. True. It must have been that, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, we out here. What's up? Yeah, we're getting our practice in for Thanksgiving Day, you know. Gonna pick all the political fights on Thanksgiving.
Oh yeah.
Right. I'm just gonna wear a shirt that has I'm gonna wear a Che Guevara shirt to Thanksgiving, and no, I don't know no Che Guevara shirt. It's just black band t-shirts,
right,
and couple hats, couple lights for the summer season. But right now it's peak. It's not peak, but it's starting to look a lot like Gothic Black Christmas. So
how come?
I mean, you know,
weather?
Yeah, when it the weather, it gets cold.
Yeah.
Get a little more somber, a little more introspective.
I kind of like it, you know, when you get a fresh snow and it's like just quieter.
Yeah.
And it's early in the morning and everything's still. It's just all white and like.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Pop in some black metal and just like take a little trip. Have a quiet sob on the bus, you know.
Sob on the bus.
That's what it is.
I think that's the worst place to have a sob. I mean,
really?
the train, you could just like.
The train, you could do anything.
You could, yeah.
There are no rules.
Oh God,
there are no rules on the
stories
L. There are no rules on the L.
Shit.
But yeah, the bus is very personal.
Yeah, and you're gonna be on there for like half hour, so I don't know. I mean, depending.
That's why you have a quiet, private sob on the bus. It's like the perfect.
I don't know if I could get away with that.
No, I know. Yeah, that's okay. I mean, it's healthy, guys, but don't put it on to other people, I guess, if you can help it.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, maybe like a close friend or something.
Yeah.
But like when you're just like getting into work and I'm just like, hey, how's it going?
Yeah.
Maybe not like lay it on right there.
Right. So shit, there's news happening all the time. It was hard to pick what to do today, but I think Cybertruck is real juicy.
Let's dig into it.
So it's a beautiful 1998 era N64 DeLorean from Back to the Future. It's 64 polygons. It's supposed to be it's a goddamn truck, and it's electric.
Yeah, it's got I think I heard that the biggest. It comes in 3 models, I think. There's sizes.
Yeah.
And the biggest one has a 500-mile battery capacity or something, which is supposed to be the biggest or the most mileage that any of their cars get or something, which is pretty crazy. I mean, the torque for an electric engine is way better than a gas. I don't know how it'll do against a good diesel engine. I don't really know. I haven't looked into it, but
yeah.
I'm sure it'll do well.
So this is probably also the precursor to the, I don't know, they're working on the freight truck engine, I guess. This is on the way there.
Right. Automated freight trucks.
Yeah.
The end of an industry.
And it has windows.
Franz, could you try to break this glass, please? Yeah. Sure? Yeah. Oh my fucking god. Well, maybe that was a little too hard.
Should we try on the beer?
Sorry? Okay. It didn't go through. So that's a plus side.
Let's try the
right? Try that one, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
Oh, man.
It didn't go through. All right.
He's just up there so confident
running
this test in front of an audience. And he's like, oh, it didn't go through. Let's try the back one. Huh? Oh, no.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah. So I guess, it's maybe technically.
There's still some kinks. They're not gonna run this truck until 2021. They got a couple of years to figure out the glass.
Yeah.
They said I heard they're blaming it on hitting the side of the truck with a sledgehammer. And it didn't dent the metal paneling of the truck, which is kind of impressive. But they said that the paneling is the same rolled steel that they use for their SpaceX shuttles or something.
Yeah.
But they said hitting it with the sledgehammer must have busted the base of the glass. So it shattered when he hit it with the ball. But he only hit the front door, so it doesn't really explain why the back window broke, unless it somehow was able to break or fracture
or it's just
that
shitty.
Too.
It could just be shitty.
Embarrassing.
Embarrassing. You know what? The Doomsday Preppers are getting real skeptical about this now because, from the looks of it, it looks like something you can ride around.
It's kind of the perfect Doomsday truck.
Yeah, you could ride around in the Mojave Desert.
If that armor glass was solid.
Right. Right.
That would be, because then you can just charge it.
It doesn't have rear view mirrors.
But if you don't have power in this post-apocalyptic universe, then
right. So it doesn't have rear view mirrors.
You know what would work?
Some
people have these little cars that run on corn alcohol.
Yeah.
And I seen it on a Doomsday Prepper. And I was like, hey, he goes 40 miles an hour. This little buggy. I mean,
yeah.
That's sustainable, kind of.
It doesn't.
If he can protect his crop.
And also the thing about it doesn't dent or whatever. It's vehicles are supposed to crush like a can, so you don't get flung around.
Right. So
in
that the
an accident.
Energy doesn't go into your bones and just fucking
shatter. So you don't just flop around on the inside of the cab of your truck.
It's supposed to absorb that energy.
Yeah, it's supposed to absorb the energy, so you at least survive, you know.
I'm curious about the head-on collision tests that they've done now. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sure they're fine though. Like,
Yeah, no, the dummies are...
it's like that's the whole point of the shape. It's just so like it doesn't need to crinkle because anything that hits it is just gonna launch off of it.
It just deflects.
It's just a ramp.
Yeah. It's just a ramp.
Which again makes it the perfect apocalyptic vehicle. If you
Make it a lowrider,
if you
then
have energy. Yeah.
and then it looks like a BattleBots robot, you know, that you would submit.
Yeah, you put some barbed wire around it.
Yeah, exactly. But you know, it could only go through so many drive-bys. So apparently, at this point,
Yeah. I mean, if you just take a sledgehammer to the side, and weaken like the structural integrity of that glass window, then you got it.
Sounds like we need to set up rules, you know, like okay, everybody, ground rules, no sledgehammers, okay. Everyone starts at full health, all right, full health, full armor. But it's also like unpainted, and his paint shop has 19 clean air violations, and that's probably why it's not fucking. It's probably why
clean
it's
air
not,
violations. So you're saying that like, is it the paint that they make paint, and like they're releasing fumes into the air or something like in the process? It's
there's a fire in 2018 in April, and
in California.
At the Tesla
contributed
factory.
to.
And so yeah, improper disposal of flammable solvent wipes in the North Paint Shop, an e-scrub system used to control overspray emissions at primer spray booth number 1 and clear coat spray booth number 3 were de-energized due to safety concerns as possible ignition sources of fires. 2 days later, CNBC reported that a fire had broken out at a primer booth on the 3rd, the first of a series of high-profile reports of fires at the facility. June 1st, CNBC had a story reporting that the April 3rd fire had been worse than previously understood, and no fewer than 4 fires had taken place at Fremont's paint shop since 2014. And Daily Beast reporting on June 5th, an E-Scrub's electrostatic plates had sparked paint that had backed up out of a clogged hopper, sparking the fire.
Wait a second. Are we sure that he doesn't have like a recording studio in there? Like, and he's not just MC Young, you know?
And he's spitting
some fire tracks, you know, like.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Laying down some bars.
Yeah, he's probably got a basketball court.
What was his rapper name?
Who? Elon Musk?
Yeah, he.
Oh my God.
He came out with like a rap album, or like a song.
No.
Young Musk.
Young Musk?
But it's a play on Carl Jung, so it's J-U.
Oh my God, that's terrible.
Young Musk.
Jesus Christ.
He could have a studio in there, you know. You never know.
Yeah, he needs to get a janitor or something for this. I mean, you have all this money, get people to... Months after the April fire, the sprinkler heads were clogged and coated at least an inch thick of paint and clear coat. Filters below the paint booths and exhaust systems that clean and carry air into and out of the building were also visibly coated. So, it wasn't painted. And, I don't know. Maybe people are starting to catch wind that Elon Musk is like...
The Antichrist.
The Antichrist. And he's not that good at it. Do you think the Antichrist would be a little better than this guy? Or does he keep his...
I don't know. He's doing pretty good.
Yeah,
doing a pretty good job.
He's, he lost like $170 million after this, and he's still worth billions of dollars.
Yeah. He's got a nice little nest egg tucked away.
It doesn't stop the fact that it's never enough with these guys, though. It's never enough. He's got whistleblowers at his plants and shit, and he's trying to destroy their lives, man.
What do you mean destroy their lives?
Well, like, so there was a whistleblower at Tesla that after Tesla identified the whistleblower as Martin Tripp, the security team gave police a tip that they'd received an anonymous call that Tripp was planning a mass shooting at the Nevada factory where he had worked. That evening, when police confronted the tearful, unarmed Tripp, he expressed his terror of Musk. They concluded Tripp posed no threat, meaning he had been the victim of a swatting. Quoted from a Bloomberg article, as accounts by police, former employees, and documents produced by Tesla's own internal investigation reveal, Musk set out to destroy Tripp. Yeah.
Damn. Was he about to go to prison for, like, conspiracy to...
He's not going to get in trouble for any of that. Yeah. Well, oh, yeah.
Like, was that what was, but, like, what he was trying to do?
Yeah.
Damn,
dude.
That is fucking insane.
That's fucking insane.
You know, I feel like if he wanted to do that, though, he could have done it. Like, why didn't that happen? Why didn't he, like... I guess the system is not as broken as we thought.
Well, also, like I've said before, I think billionaires are kind of sloppy because this is what, you know, kids...
He just thought that you don't have to grease some palms. He's not a real organized criminal.
No, I mean, all these guys are mostly just like, you know, lazy rich guys.
They're used to people just doing what they say.
Yeah, exactly. And also, this is something for a billionaire that's relatively light. You know,
maybe you just wanted to scare him.
He can't. He's not gonna. You know,
and
that's
it sounds
probably
like he did scare him.
It's probably a crime to call in a fake.
Yeah, it definitely is a crime.
Mass shooting, and then to find out that it's like retaliation for a whistleblower, which I think retaliating on a whistleblower is against the law too. But don't quote me on that.
Doesn't the like U.S. government do that though?
Yeah, I mean it's against the rules. Like there are technically whistleblower protections in the private and the public sector, but you know it's all about who's enforcing that shit and who's interpreting the rules. You know.
Do you think that like the U.S. government wanting to prosecute Edward Snowden is like not protecting a whistleblower?
Yeah.
Or do you think that he kind of violated security?
No, I don't care about that shit.
Right? Fuck that shit.
I think that there are multiple secret intelligence agencies that also spy on the American people as if we were enemies or something. Or I mean, it's because we're subjugated. But also, like, that's ours.
The data?
Yeah, that's ours.
True.
That's ours. The government works for us, or it's supposed to.
Well,
that's my shit. I want to know. I want to know if the U.S. is committing war crimes, you know, overseas in
that's
our
classified.
name. I don't give a fuck.
It's classified.
Don't care. I think
it's national security that you don't know.
Well, you know, at the least, I think we could leave it to the Department of Defense and the military, and we should abolish the NSA, the FBI, and the CIA. I don't think we need them.
What about the IRA?
The IRA in Ireland? I'm not at liberty to speak on that.
No, not Ireland. Did I use the wrong acronym? Like the tax?
Oh, the IRS?
Fuck, I used the wrong.
No.
I think how come the Department of Defense like doesn't get in trouble for like not being able to count for trillions of dollars?
I mean the money thing alone is...
How come like if I don't pay, well, I mean not me, but like, you know, if Martha Stewart doesn't want to pay her taxes or something, like she goes to prison, but like, you know, they can't account for literally trillions of dollars.
Right. I mean,
multiple times.
It depends on whoever's controlling the levers, you know, or whoever's pulling the levers. If they want to enforce the rules or not, that's totally up to each administration. And
I know.
in living memory,
These are the questions we need to be asking so that people are talking about it, so that it doesn't keep happening.
Right.
So that, like Epstein would have just if nobody talked about like him enough, like it would have never went anywhere. He would have never. He would still be alive.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
Yeah.
People have to be like aware of these things and.
Well, it happened when like
and be outraged about the right thing. You know?
The judge who like gave a small sentence to Epstein got into the Trump administration, and that's one of the upsides of this whole fucking nightmare scenario in federal politics is that people are paying attention and they realize that it matters. Like all the people who are rich. And they're into politics. They're going to do it whether or not we do or don't. And that only works in their favor, And they have class solidarity. They share and work together to enforce their class interests, and their power. I think it's only right for us to do so too, So yeah, I mean, you would need a truly like anti-imperialist leader in the White House, someone who doesn't believe in the wars, and because that's the thing, everybody in living memory who's been the president since World War II has been a wartime president almost. And even now, after
having the nukes,
you want that, and just like the military-industrial complex,
geopolitics.
Like the thing is, World War II revitalized our economy, but then we didn't choose to diversify after, and we just let the military-industrial complex grow and grow and grow, and now it's just like. It's very, very profitable to manufacture and sell weapons and tanks and jets, and it's a fucking death machine, And now we've got all of these expanded wars in the Middle East and in Africa, and we're just feeding the military-industrial complex, the arms manufacturers, the military vehicle manufacturers, even intelligence people and lobbyists, and like people come in and out of those jobs, and then they get hired on in foreign countries to run campaigns for crazy dictators and shit like that, and they do like. We're just exporting all this evil shit, And that's just overseas. Now it's hit, now here we have like private prison companies running child detention camps, and they're making money off of it, And now it's hit home. It's wild. But you would have to get somebody in charge of everything who wants to take the fucking profit out of that shit. Stand up to the money,
Right. Be hard to do.
It would be hard to do, but that's why
you get JFK'd real quick.
Well, he didn't like the CIA either. He said they should be split up and blown to the wind.
Somebody's just gonna have to be a martyr, though. For the cause. Because
God, hopefully not. Hopefully not, because
sorry, Bernie.
They're trying. They're trying out there. Yeah, all they have to do is shoot their heart attack gun,
right?
the magnetic heart attack gun.
Well, yeah, then it's not really gonna be a good martyr.
Oh yeah, then everyone's gonna be
like, well, he's old.
See, he's too old. He's too old.
He's still pretty sharp.
No, yeah, he's out there. He's doing a shit ton of events. Yeah, he's old, but he's doing a shit ton of events everywhere. He's firing people up,
He must be on Kratom or something. keep them fired up.
Yeah.
Get that energy going. You know, Jim Jones had to be on meth.
Yeah.
Amphetamines.
No, we don't want that. Trump is on. Trump might be on amphetamines right now, though.
You don't think that Bernie would be on amphetamines too?
No,
because,
I think he's in good shape.
Yeah.
I think he's in good shape.
Maybe.
He's, you know, if you follow a couple people on Twitter, you just see him like shooting hoops every other day,
right.
and he's a long distance runner in college.
Maybe they've perfected like meth pharmaceutically, so like it just gives you like that energy, but it doesn't really fuck with your head. But can there really be like such a enhancement without a drawback?
I don't know. You know, can you put like if is that always gonna happen if you like push your body unnaturally past where it can go? You know.
I mean, staying up for days is like sleep is super important. Mm-hmm. You know, like I heard that. You know, your brain is like any other organ, and it produces toxins and everything that it needs to excrete, but it holds on to them all day, where all your other organs will excrete it like throughout the day, like just part of like digestion or whatever. And your brain holds on to it until you sleep. And then when you sleep, like going through like the full cycle of REM sleep is important for, you know, excreting all those toxins and like allowing your brain to go through, you know, processes to, like, you know, organs, and they go through process of regeneration and everything when they're not working as hard. So sleep is very important. You know, it's important to rest.
It's like it affects the rest of your body too. You know, and
I mean that could be a huge part of, you know, the mental illness issue, like in America.
For sure. Yeah.
Just like lack of sleep. You know, people working 3 jobs, 2 jobs, staying up.
And also, like, kids, you know, there's plenty of research out there on how early start day is at school is bad for kids, right. You know, because they need more sleep.
And the blue light on screens. More kids are being exposed to, like, these screens with the blue lights.
Right.
That's been shown to, like, have an effect on your sleeping patterns.
It makes your brain think that the sun is still out right before because you're just, like, literally staring into a light source.
Right.
And your brain thinks that it's still daytime. And then you go to bed and your REM is all, you know, your cycle's all fucked up. Same thing with, like, you know, teenagers have different sleep cycles, you know, and it changes over time. Yeah. And having school start at 7, 8 in the morning is not good.
And that's when it starts. You still have to, you know, sometimes kids have to commute to school. It take like 40 minutes or an hour. Like here in Chicago, I'm sure, you know, you got to hop on a train and a bus or something to get to school sometimes. I don't know. Maybe they have the public school buses.
No, I see kids.
I never went to school.
I see kids. I see teenagers and stuff on the trains.
Yeah. You know, sometimes it'll take you an hour to get across town or like get to the loop, you know.
Yeah.
Or to get around. Like, it can be time consuming. So then you got to factor in time to get ready, time to commute.
Right. And also, like, a lot of other countries have stopped doing homework. They stopped doing homework altogether.
Yeah.
Like, and it's shown to yield better results in school.
I was not very fond of homework.
No, nobody is. Yeah. But like, maybe we should, as a society, listen to like what people are feeling like when they're in school and when we're given the current style of teaching that we are, you know.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure it's similar to, like, we talked about how acquiring debt, how that can affect your like cognition,
right?
Like just, you know, taking a test for, you know, like a logic test or something. Like if you have debt hanging over your head, you're going to perform worse than if you didn't have that debt. Like they've done studies like that. So I'm sure like being in school and getting homework from all these classes and having it due the next day and just like falling behind over and over. I still have nightmares of like that I'm in high school and I am so far behind in English and American studies and like all these classes. I'm like, and then I wake up and I'm like, oh my God, like
Jesus.
Cause like, it's just I mean, that's like acquiring debt, you know, like in like a developing mind, you know, I'm sure that's not very, very healthy.
Yeah, no way.
I mean, I don't know the extent of it, but I mean, it can't, like, I'm sure it's just adding to the anxiety of like procrastination and everything. I don't know. I mean,
Yeah,
maybe
no.
I'm making excuses,
No,
but I think
but
it's
I mean,
like,
we were like number 4, number 6 in global education rankings in the early 90s, and now we're like in the mid 30, like we're like 34 or something like that. Everybody else is figuring out ways to move ahead, and we are falling behind, you know. No Child Left Behind happened in the Bush years, so if you were a school that was doing well, you would get more funding, and if you were a school that was doing poorly, you would get less funding, which doesn't make any sense.
it sounds like some children are being left behind there.
Yeah, exactly. Like, okay, so we're not going to address the problems of why these schools are bad. We're just going to continue to rescind funding for them and let them get worse, and then say, they deserved it.
Well, they weren't doing something right.
And then now, and still, like, schools are funded through
You know what they
property.
need? They need they need somebody to make a movie about, you know, some young teacher that goes in there, whips these kids into shape.
Yeah,
Gets them studying for like the big test.
Yeah.
Then you know they can start testing better and get that funding.
Let's at least start with an inspirational teacher at every school. How about we start there? Because that can be the radical change.
We'll just take like, you know, teachers from some of our best universities. And like make them, you know, retire from that luxurious job and like go to a public school and be a teacher there.
Yeah. Have a camera crew with them. Right. And we'll make a little documentary out of all of it. And we'll inspire everyone to stop.
To pursue education.
Yeah. Well, we just got to pay. We got to pay teachers. We got to fund all these schools. Stop funding them with property taxes. That's insane. That we fund schools with property taxes.
We don't do that with churches.
We don't do. Well, we should let's tax the churches, right?
How does that make sense?
We'll tax the churches, but also like every kid should have a good education. Why is it got to be like depending on the neighborhood you're in? And that's racist, you know. Got all these like permanently segregated neighborhoods that already don't have a lot of, you know, wealth in their family. And like all these schools are falling apart. Got a buddy of mine that's working at a school in a poor neighborhood, and like there's 30 kids in every class. There's always fights. You know, like there's not enough social service at these schools, nurses and counselors, and there's always more cops. You know, like you can't police these issues, you know. What's a cop gonna do? He's gonna like ticket people and fucking put their knees on their backs and shit like that. They have, you know, people with. They got a guy with a gun on every corner in a school instead of like a counselor, you know.
Well, I think I don't know how much good the counselor will do.
Well,
I mean, some of that stuff might be, I don't know, you know, it might be a little too far along for them, for like those younger kids to really care about, you know, wanting to talk to a counselor.
It's a long-term thing. It's not like a one-time
right, yeah.
You go to the counselor.
Yeah, and
it's something that you want to have
it's useful.
Consistently. And it's not the only thing.
Yeah, exactly. It's not the only thing.
We need to flip the whole thing, you know. We got for-profit textbooks. We got for-profit this, you know. All of these... Everything is getting more expensive. Why? Why are we trying to extract?
Everything's getting more expensive.
Why are we trying to extract all this money out of just like kids' school books and shit like that? You know, that also erases history and has history in a very pro-colonial, pro-white supremacy, you know, manifest destiny narrative. At least when I grew up in Texas, it was very rah-rah America, very, you know, like nationalistic way of looking at history. And it was
well, you know, Texas is supposed to be a pretty proud state, you know. State.
I mean, my history teacher in the 8th grade was a wrestling coach.
It's also pretty pretty conservative.
It's pretty conservative, yeah.
I grew up in Oregon, which is more of a democratic state.
Yeah, yeah.
And it wasn't like, I mean, it was still, proud to be American and everything, but like it's more I don't know, history class was, more focused on liberal ideas. I remember this one time in high school we had like just a group discussion in the class, and you go to one side of the class if you're on one side of the debate, and you go to the other side if you're on the other. And it was like some real issues like, the death penalty and I think abortion and stuff like that. And most of the class on every issue went to the liberal side, but there was, this one kid who was, he wore camo every day, and he was actually like really smart though. Like in all the discussions, he gave out clear reasons where you could see like logically his conclusion, like what drew him to that conclusion, and that he believes that and everything. And like I could respect that. Yeah. And like I didn't agree with all of, like, he was conservative on every one of those discussions, and like so some of those things, like the death penalty is. I don't know. Is conservative for the death penalty or against?
Generally, yeah.
For? Mm-hmm. I don't know. It's a weird issue. I'd probably be for it. Because some people, are just like, are really bad. But like the thing is being able to get the right person who's that bad person is where it gets kind of, also like, why should the government be allowed to?
Why should the government be allowed to murder people? Yeah. Like that's my number one reason.
What do you think about like small local well, that's even.
Well, see, okay, so
it's just weird.
On the death penalty itself, like, right? I don't want the government being in charge of who can and who can't get murdered.
But why would you? Because why do you want the government in charge of like who can and who can't have excessive wealth?
Because when you have excessive wealth, it comes at the cost of the general public. Like. But like, if you pollute the air, if you steal people's wages, if you underpay them, then you are a bad guy. You're, I would say, a criminal. I would call you a thief. But the government. Well, that's my first point. My second point is that, like, if there is 0.0001% of the people who are killed by the government. If they're innocent, it's way too many. If it's one person a year, it's way too many. And we know it's not that.
That makes the government the most successful serial killer.
Well, I mean, like, you have black and brown neighborhoods over-policed. You got just like, we know poverty is what causes crime and all this shit. And if you leave things, and if you leave neighborhoods without resources and you don't do anything to fix the root of all these problems, then you just have like what we have now. Most of the people in the for-profit prison system are black and brown people, and then it's even more disproportionately black and brown people on death row, and like. You got people getting killed in the streets by police officers.
Very heavy male population.
It's a very I mean, but it's well in the women's prisons too. It's disproportionately black and brown. Like they're dealing with over policing. They're over policing of sex workers, where. It doesn't occur in more white, affluent, part of the sex work industry. So, like, you have all these disparities and these criminalized disparities.
Like, coke and crack cocaine, like just the
delineation. Yeah. Yeah.
Like the time, like, you serve for just the differences. When... the two are, it's the same drug, just like in a different process.
Right. Exactly. And you still have people serving time for that.
Yeah.
Today in 2019.
Like whole lives that are just ruined.
Yeah.
I mean, you may as well have killed them.
I would say that there's a genocide that's ongoing in this country. and it's of black and brown people. I mean, and more disproportionately black people. It's continued on. I mean, and I hear some people like, oh, a revolution can never happen in this country. It hasn't ever happened. And when there was unarmed black people getting killed, there would be protests in the streets. People would be marching in the streets. And then a drugstore would catch fire and everyone would lose their minds about it. And it's like, y'all, we're missing the point. You know, when we care about chairs getting thrown through Starbucks windows and drugstores caught on fire, like all of these are owned by corporations or real estate holders.
I mean, some of those could be
people are dying in the streets.
Businesses.
People are dying in the streets. They're getting killed in the streets. They're disproportionately. 1 in 3 black men go to prison. They serve time, I believe. That's insane. 1 in 3. Black people, white people, Latinos, smoking weed at the same rate. But who gets snatched up for it more?
Right.
It's black people. It's brown people, you know. So, like, it's the disparities within the disparities. And then when somebody is killed by what's supposed to be a public servant, they march in the streets and then they get tear gassed. You know, they get chased out of their own neighborhoods back into their house with armored guys in tanks. People are rising up. But it's, you know, what we said before, like the CIA, the intelligence agency, they were running drugs to fucking flood the cities with crack. We know that.
Mm-hmm.
The intelligence agencies don't like, you know, people rising up. Even recently, under the FBI has designated something like black nationalists or something as a hate group or something like that. And it doesn't exist. Oh, black identity extremists is what they designated as a terror group. It doesn't exist. Not a thing. It's a very loose. It's a blanket term. And that's the FBI. That's what we know, you know. And then we have, you know, we gave all this military hardware to police stations all over the country. Churning the machine. I think we just gotta start with abolishing private prisons, and then we start fucking significantly reducing the goddamn prison population.
Mm-hmm. Let's legalize drugs.
And
non-violent, you know, drug offenders. We should, I don't know. Would you just release them, or would you give them a parole or something? An interview to see, like, interview their case, review their case, and
I want to clean people's records.
Yeah,
people's records.
Get people back out into the streets. Yeah. And getting jobs, real jobs.
Give them a house, you know,
so that they can start, you know,
give them the right to vote.
Paying taxes that are going to go towards, you know, we want people to return to society. We want people to be productive and part of a community again. We do not want to have, like, you know, corporate interests profiting off of people being imprisoned.
Yeah. Or like, you know, AT&T owns a bunch of prison phones, right? And you have to pay to make calls, or you have to pay to, like, use this, like, webcams and telecom equipment. And
they'll, like, make money like $1 an hour or something.
Yeah, and it's all these, like, telecom companies that are making money off of it too. And now in some prisons, they're getting rid of their phone, or they're getting rid of visitations, and they're replacing it instead with webcam visits, which is, like, cruel as fuck. Because we know when people are visited in person by loved ones in prison, their chances of coming back to prison are lower than if they never had contact with anybody.
Like, we need to just, like, make these psychological studies more known, where, like, I don't know, it's just more common knowledge so that people can't get away with, like, doing the same thing over and over that we've proven that it doesn't work, and just makes things worse.
It's so profitable, though. That's the thing.
I know, but the thing is like, where does the profit come from? It comes from, like, you know, the labor force working and paying that money, you know, for, like, you know, whatever the corporations are.
It's a government
selling.
Government contracts, though. Also, like, guaranteed government contracts, and
Yeah,
then
that's
also,
fucked up.
like, in under the Trump administration, they've like highballed the fuck out of these contracts, and they're making bank, and now they've expanded into detaining immigrants, and now, like, the entire refugee program goes through these private prisons where we don't even know what's happening anymore in there. We know that they're drugging kids. We know that they're kids that are being sexually abused and physically abused. We know that people are having babies in there alone without medical attention. We know people are getting the flu. The Department of Homeland Security is resisting the CDC's recommendation to give people flu vaccinations. So it's like purposefully fucking crazy. You know, the cruelty is the point. And they're getting this is some real fucking crazy territory for the country to be in. And liberals sometimes want to say, oh, this isn't who we are.
As a country.
This is a country. This isn't who we are. Like, man, crack open a history book, you know, fucking all the way from the Indian Wars and the polio blankets or the smallpox blankets.
Well, that was like English and Spanish and
then no, there was all the entire.
Those count as the English and the Spanish and the French and all them. We weren't America.
America did the smallpox. We did and the hunting.
We did go to war with
the Trail of Tears
and kill a lot of them, and genocide.
And
when they were trying to make peace
and concentrate them onto reservations and then the Japanese internment, well, not to mention the entire like enslaving of Africans.
But I'm not a fan of group guilt. Like,
no, I'm not saying guilt. I'm saying it's important to recognize that this is a continuation of the history of the country. You know, it's a history of making profit off of the global South, as some people say. That's the entire history, you know. That's where capitalism got its first explosion, you know, because up until slavery, people were mostly paying for labor, right? Mm-hmm. But once you stop paying for labor, holy shit, does your profit margin expand, right? Mm-hmm. And that's our starting points. That's why we can't get away from slavery anymore. That's why we still have to pay prison labor $1 or less an hour. That's why we moved all of this cheap technology manufacturing to East Asia, where they're paid $1 or less an hour.
Though? Because we don't have any control over these other countries and how they charge and
I mean, we can make jobs here.
If you have like fair trade, how can you compete with that?
We already have a giant economy where and a huge population. Like we already do create the wealth. You know, California is the 6th largest economy in the world. If we just we could manufacture green technology here and do it alone. You know, we could do the same thing we did during World War II, where we revitalized the economy with, you know, building tanks and shit like that. We could just do that with like solar panels and you know, I mean, the technology is out there for all this shit, but it's not readily given to the people where it belongs, you know, for the really cool futuristic society that runs on itself, you know. It's not ready for, you know, it's not out there yet. I mean, if we have, you know, that's the whole idea of a Green New Deal, is that we create millions of jobs that are unionized, and we build solar panels, and we build infrastructure, and we refit all the old buildings to be green and carbon neutral, put solar panels on roofs and shit like that. You know, we could really fuck it up in a good way, you know?
Definitely.
For sure.
True. So, also, you know, on Elon Musk, like, he's been shooting up his satellites into space.
Yeah?
And it's been, like, fucking with astronomers and their work. They have to, like, they'll have to stop and wait for, like, his satellite trains. I guess he's got whole trains of satellites.
Jesus Christ.
Where it'll take like 15 minutes to go past this guy or whatever and get out of the way, so they can go back to, like, you know, that 15 minutes we might miss aliens. You know, we might miss an alien spaceship or something.
Yeah. Or like an asteroid,
if they
you
show
know?
us. How do we know they haven't already seen that?
Don't tell us. Let it be a surprise.
Did you see the bug thing?
The bug? No.
There's like some I don't know what he is, like an astronomer somewhere, where he's claiming that he has proof that there's bug aliens on Mars.
What?
And he's got like some pictures where it could be a rock.
I saw this.
Could be a rock, but I apparently, like, I don't know. I was just skimming like this article, and it was saying that he like published, you know, a statement on it or something, and then he retracted it right after. And then, so I don't know, but there's been a bunch of stuff in the news about, like, you know, possibly finding alien life within the next few years. I mean, they're talking about unveiling, like, new telescopes and new technologies that are just now being like finished creating and everything. Like,
yeah,
they have like these telescopes that they've been making these mirrors underneath the Arizona stadium.
Wow,
like huge. Just the, and there's gonna be like, I don't know, like 6 or 9 of them. So like the size of that stadium,
yeah,
in a circular pattern or whatever, reflecting light out in space.
We gotta get our shit together if we want to make a good first impression on these aliens.
Yeah.
Because it's really not great right now. They're gonna see what we're about, and then they're gonna come and do it to us, and then it's like, I don't even know. Wow.
Hopefully they'll
alien overlords, huh?
Hopefully they're good.
Hopefully they are good. Hopefully
because
they're good.
If they're not good, then like they could just be, if you know, like they could be aliens that, you know, just like ravage the natural resources of their own planet and are just like this big corporate, you know, like the Federalists from the prequels of Star Wars.
Yeah.
You know,
so they live on a big spaceship and they're just like looking for a place.
It's just like Amazon, like, of that planet.
Yeah.
It's Amazon took over that planet and now they're just a big spaceship warehouse, just shipping out packages around the galaxy.
What is the what is the fucking planet-eating planet from Transformers? I just imagine it's that, but it's like got a logo on it.
It's just the smile.
Yeah, it's just a smile, and it's like, oh, this is so nice. Oh my god, you know, when that comes to the planet, all the cable news are gonna be like, oh my god, there's a big smile in the sky, ladies and gentlemen. Wow, this is the best thing ever. And then it's just gonna like destroy us.
It's what South Park, you know, what it did with Walmart, the episode on Walmart. Oh, see, your town's got a Walmart now, huh? And then all the local shops just close down and everybody starts working at Walmart.
I would, I don't know. What if like the aliens come down and they just like post up with us and just hang out? What if they are looking
What if they're already here?
Damn.
They're just like they impregnated us and had hybrids so that they look close enough to like us, and they are, they're adapted to this climate, this gravity. That's what you got to do. You got to fuck what's ever on that planet and make a hybrid baby so that it can be, it's going to be, all this, everything's going to be right for that body.
Yeah,
it's gonna, the gravity's going to be fine, it's not going to like reverse the blood flow, and cause like blood clots or whatever the fuck.
We could just like CRISPR a human being to like have space gills or something.
It's not as fun.
No?
No.
Oh yeah.
You want to be the first guy to, or the first person.
But listen, it's got to be consensual. Okay?
Yeah, of course.
We can't just show up to a planet and just.
So you're gonna have to get a linguist.
We can't Christopher Columbus people on another planet.
Well, what if that's what they're doing to us though?
Well, it's not right to do it back.
Well,
an eye for an eye makes the whole world blind.
But what if like in their culture, it is like considered a blessing to like be.
So what
to
if
be bred with?
So what if?
And so like they don't even understand that it's not consensual and it's rape.
So the aliens have a rape kink? Is that what you're saying?
I guess. I mean, maybe. Like,
listen,
I mean, anything's possible.
We would need to establish ground rules and like a safety word and like I don't want to fuck this up. Okay, I don't want to. I want us to make a good first impression on the aliens, right? I want us to be like, look, we've learned from our mistakes.
Sorry about Mars Attacks. That was in a bad light.
Yeah, there's a comedy. Nobody says...
It's a satire.
Yeah. We don't say ack anymore. Even though that movie has a killer cast.
Right.
I gotta watch Mars Attacks again soon. Yeah. That's great.
Oh, you know what I just watched?
What?
Hell Comes to Frogtown.
What is that?
Do you know they live?
No.
You don't know they live?
No.
That's like the best conspiracy movie ever. I swear, I feel like we've talked about this on this. But like, it's the one where he finds like the sunglasses and he puts them on and he looks at ads and the ads say like, obey me or like,
oh yeah.
And yeah, so that guy, like Rowdy Piper or whatever, he's like a wrestler, professional wrestler. He's in this movie and it's a post-apocalypse and he's the last virile man on Earth who can impregnate like, and there's mostly women, like men are dying off or something. I don't know. So the government picks him up, finds out that he's like the only one who's not shooting blanks, and he's like leaving a string of pregnant women everywhere he goes.
Wow.
And so they put a chastity belt on him, and they use him like as their like own personal breeder. He's not allowed to, have sex with anybody that is not fertile. And but the best part is when they go to Frogtown, and the title Hell Comes to Frogtown. His last name is Hell, so he's Sam Hell.
Oh, this is the sequel.
Huh? No, it's not a sequel.
Oh, okay.
He goes to Frogtown, and there's actual mutant frog people.
Sick. So we're gonna do that to Mars.
It's super great. Like,
but we need to have like a dating. We should do like a dating show. That's probably the best way to do it. Where you get like humans involved, where you get humans on board. You turn it into a dating show where we have like eligible bachelor aliens, and then probably the most like the hottest people on the earth. I don't know.
Well, how do we know? What do we know?
Yeah, I know
that's
insanely subjective.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll figure it out.
They find the most cancer-ridden, like...
Yeah. NASA, get to it.
Right.
NASA, figure it out. What do the aliens think is sexy?
Like
tight.
it.
Well, we'll leave it there today.
True.
Yeah, we're on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play. We're on YouTube. Not in visual form, but we're technically on YouTube.
We're on YouTube? Oh, shit.
If you are one of those people that puts a YouTube video on and listens to it in the background or whatever, like we got you. And go ahead and leave us a 5-star review wherever you can. It helps with our reach. And yeah. What else? Do you want to plug anything?
Yeah, everybody, let's blow up Ghislaine Maxwell, figure out where she's at. let's charge her with, you know, Epstein's crimes or whatever she's been involved in.
Yeah.
Let's not forget about her.
Tight. I've got a show this week at the Second City, Friday the 29th at 10:30. Pillow Fight. I'll be there with Generation Latinx. And then we have our sketch show Sunday, December 8th, also at the Second City. So check us out. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Later.